Hello, everyone. So happy to have you here. And there's so much that's going to happen today. They've been giving me a lot of information, so you guys will love this. But first, we're going to get started by having our Yarna bring us into a state of presence.
All right. Hello, hello. Thanks, Roger. Thanks also to you for being here. And yeah, I'm part of the team. I'm contributing with the meditations, and I trust that you will be greatly prepared for what the team, Roger, Wilhelm, is going to present. Start by joining and closing your eyes. Connect to your heart. Feel it beating. Be aware of your breath. Are you breathing fast, slow, in your belly, or in your chest? Connect to your heart and send some gratitude to yourself for being here, for taking time to meditate. And if it's just for a few minutes, that you take time out for yourself to connect with like-minded individuals, beings here on this planet. We are very grateful that you're here. I am very grateful that you're here because you are awesome. You deserve to live the best life that you can imagine. And everything that you're going to listen to supports you in that. Everything that everyone says has a message integrated for you to learn, for you to grow, for you to expand. So connect to your heart and place this information within, that everything that happens for you. Everything that happens is there to make you stronger. And feel that you're never alone, because we are all one. We are all connected. And you feel that from your chest. And even if you bring the attention to the center of your forehead, tune in into the spiritual eye. Connect with us in the field. Also, you have access to the higher realms, channeling information that transforms life and speaking words of wisdom. You already have done it, so you can repeat it if you wish and will. From the center of your forehead, observe your body. Feel it changing. Feel the calmness. Feel the beauty of taking time to connect, as I said already, with like-minded individuals who are there to support you, to guide you towards the best life that you can imagine. You are loved, you are appreciated, and you are very awesome. Yes, you are. All right. Thank you for having me here, Roger, Stan, and you who are listening. Because the one that now is listening is the real you. I feel you, and I see you. Let's go, Wilhelm.
Thank you so much, and we are ready to begin. We have waited for you your entire lives. Now we know there is new energy here today. We're so pleased about that, and you wouldn't understand what we were saying when we said we were waiting for you your entire lives. And those of you who have even been with us for the longest time will understand it more today, which is why we had on your screen the reason that we called this particular gathering, You Have Never Been Alone. You've been on a path to come to this time in your world, on your planet, so that you could expand, so that you could evolve, so that you could shine, so that you could understand your importance, your significance. Each of you came into the planet at this time, this trajectory on your planet, because you wanted to make a difference. You wanted things to be better in your sense, and whatever that felt like in your individual path. And you were given something within you that was being developed, but you only access it a bit at a time. You only access it when you allow your consciousness to raise, so to speak, and move it to a higher level of being. This is what you are doing, and this is what your planet is doing. Now, let's talk about why we decided to do this session today, which many of you couldn't understand, because normally we do it right on the full moon. Well, that's coming about, but we wanted to get ahead of it. We've given you everything ahead of time because we wanted to prepare you for what you might be witnessing, because you might think that things were falling apart, and as we've always said, they are not. When we gave you the message in 2020 about on this particular day, we wanted you to know you would be fine, and you would be fine if you decided to love who you are, understand your journey, and bring your gifts to the world, because you each have them. They just show up at different times in your path, in your evolutionary journey. It has nothing to do with your chronological age, as we've always said. However, this particular time on your planet is so vital, and you have made the decision to be here. You did, you just don't remember that, but you each made a decision to come onto the planet so that you could offer something, and what you came to offer is within you. There's no being ever born who doesn't possess that, but what's happened over the eons of time, you have gotten off balance, as we've often said. And what has happened, you've created a world that does not serve everyone, and the reason you are here is so that you could shine your light and become who you're meant to be, and then the shift of the energies of your world happen. That's what it is. But some of you have been holding back, which is why we have pushed Roger to do these sessions, to bring him to a greater state of awareness for you, because your planet needs you right now. You're in a critical place. This is why we did it. We didn't wait for your 4th of July because we wanted to get ahead of it, because we knew you would see a little more disruption. You even had some today where you're still killing each other. You haven't figured that one out yet, and it's been going on for eons, but your essence is on the planet now to make that change. And the only way that happens is when you decide to love yourself and decide that you are worth it, and that you have abundance and worth and value. You discover that as you live. It doesn't happen right away. None of you know who you're going to become when you're born. It's a constant choosing, if you will, and you do that choosing in your thoughts. Your thoughts are the most powerful thing you possess. Now, what's happened in your world is that you've given away your power because you thought others had it. This is a society, a particular paradigm that you've all existed in for eons, as we've said, that you decided to shift now. Now, it's not accidental that it's happening at this time. And the reason we kept saying the United States would lead the way, and none of you could understand that, but you're seeing it now, because you're moving through energetic changes in your galaxies, and the Pluto return that the United States is moving through means that it has to have a reckoning. That's what happens when you move through returns of any planet. You don't have to understand all the astrological aspects of that. You only must understand that you are energy, and you conduct it. You conduct it individually, and you conduct it collectively. And collectively, you have been putting an energy into your world that did not serve all that is. We gave you information years ago where we talked about ultimate reality, because we wanted you to understand that eventually you get there. This is the idea that many of you have about moving to oneness, that place of when you understand that you are all the same. But you don't do that all at once. You don't do that in any civilization. But this particular civilization, you are existing now to make the greatest shift that your planet has ever seen, but it's within you. But many of you have been holding back. And we know that, and we've had our messenger was holding back, so we kept pushing him, and we pushed him more just recently. And many of you will find that because you're kind of lost and trying to understand what's happening. We met with someone, saw someone yesterday saying, I'm feeling very lost, and will your program help us? We said yes. But that's only if you do it, you see, because you each have the ability to achieve anything you desire, but you have to put in the work. And this is what we have given you, and we've given it to you over decades. It didn't happen just now. We gave it to you through a being. Each of you comes in with a life to live that when you decide, when you understand what you've done, what you've moved through, then you give it back to others, and that's how your world evolves. Now, our being here has moved through everything that you could possibly want to experience. No, that you don't want to experience. That's what we're saying. You each have something like that within your lives. And so when you move through it and understand that you've accomplished something, now your worth and value is there and assessed, and you're putting a new energy into the world, and you stop this idea of punishing yourselves, because that's what many of you have done. You thought that the things that you're moving through in your life have been so horrible and terrible, and you're being punished, and that's never happening. What happened was you each chose something to bring into the world in this incarnation, because you're eternal spiritual beings. You don't die, but you just have that fear that you will, but you don't die. You just decide that you're going to work on certain aspects of yourself, whatever incarnation you happen to choose. And you chose this one because it's the most dynamic that your planet has ever experienced. And if you do what you came to the world to do, you're going to see a world that's going to be quite different than the one you're witnessing now. And all the things that we've told you over the last several years, which you could not hear us, which is why we've been repeating some of the ones we gave you in 2020, because that's when many of you started to become aware of changes in your lives and things that might be happening, or you thought it was just about your pandemic, which we said it was never only about that. It was about you coming together. That was the entire purpose of that. Your civilizations have moved through periods like this before. None of you would remember this because they're gone. And some of your civilizations, as we've said, have vanished because at those times you didn't make the choices that could serve all. And so it wasn't worth your planet having you around. We're talking about other civilizations you would have no memory of, but you have memories of so many other things because they're within you. And when we speak to you, what happens is, many of you say this, that it feels like we're speaking directly to you. We are, because we're speaking from universal consciousness, which you each have. You just decide how much you're going to accept, and you do that according to your plan and when it is right on your journey. There's never a time where you are doing anything wrong. We want you to understand that, because that's the main thing that many of you have, that you're continually judging yourselves. And many of you right now at this current time are feeling like, oh, I should have done this thing that I had before. No, you're awakening to it now. But if you keep judging yourself that you didn't do it before, then you never do it now. And everything happens in the now. We want you to understand that. But you know, this is why we give you messages that go back 10, 12 years, or 13 years sometimes, because we want you to understand that there's a continuation of consciousness. That's all. When we gave you our first message on January 1st of 2012, we said infinite intelligence. We wanted you to understand you each have it. It always exists. And then you decide how much you're going to accept into your life at the appropriate time for your individual journey. And then you start to expand, you start to thrive. And this is what we've wanted you to see. Now, we've also said that we started doing these messages, these live conversations with you almost 2 years ago now, because we knew that you would be having fear and doubt. We don't want you to have that, because it doesn't serve your planet, it doesn't serve you. Now, it is natural for you to experience those things, because you also have restrictions. You have restrictions in your thinking. That's all. We want you to understand everything is consciousness, absolutely everything. And so when we told you about Roger being pulled out of his hiding out, which many of you have been doing, you hide out from yourselves. We feel that. Oh, because you judge yourselves. That's the other thing that happens. But once you start to step out, your life will change. And this is the work that we've given you. We said we gave you an ascension guide, because that is what each of you are doing. You're ascending to a higher state of understanding and being, and your planet is doing the same thing, but it can't do that without you. And each of you are that important to this time. Now, we know it's you, because you wouldn't be listening to us. You've never been in an accidental place in your life. You've never heard an accidental thing, but you just decide when you're going to listen. That's all. When we speak, as we said, we are alerting you to the things that you you've always heard, because that's why you feel this resonance that comes up when we say a word. And you have to understand, we've given you everything, as we've said. And we even told our guide here, our messenger, that we had given him everything in 2012, and that was challenging for him to accept. And just like it's been challenging for you to accept how great you are, how you have something within you that's being brought to the surface now to bring to the world. We're saying that because many of you have new inventions that you're creating right now, and you're afraid of them and you're doubting them. Please just do them. You have no idea how powerful that will be. We understand the fear of not moving through it and what's going to happen. Our guide, our messenger here had that fear. He did it for years. We told you, it's been years that he was working on the work that we wanted to bring, but it wasn't the right time. It was the right time now. But even when we told him in December of 2021 to start doing this now, he still had doubt. And then he saw the results of it. You each will do that. When you get over your doubt about who you are and what you came to offer and just do it, you will see that it will bring something quite different to your life and to your world. You're never given anything that you're not meant to fulfill if it feels right in your heart. This is what we want you to come back to. Many of you have lived lives where you're doing many things for others, not understanding the importance of yourselves, and that you have to give yourselves this kind of sustenance, this kind of a fortitude of empowerment so that you can become happy. The strangest thing that you will understand about this time in your world, the way that you will change it, is by deciding to become happy and abundant. Now, each of you, we know it's you because you, again, wouldn't be hearing us. And we're saying that because you're going to see others who will never hear us. And they will never understand this because they're on a different evolutionary path than you are. And you have had all these other paths, and we want you to understand this, which is why we are doing this before the United States goes into its 4th of July celebration, because they're going to have a bit more reckoning to do, and you're going to see other things that are not going to make you happy, and you're going to see a lot of anger. And we wanted you to understand why you're seeing it. You're seeing the anger because you're going to see a lot of people who have not made the decision to love themselves. That's all that it is ever. Because when you make the decision to love yourself, you can do anything, because then you're accessing a different level of consciousness that doesn't have any restrictions there, that doesn't tell you you're wrong, that doesn't tell you that you don't belong. We have had many of you saying that you felt many times throughout your life that you were the black sheep of the family. Well, that was perfect. You were supposed to be. Because you came to bring something different. You weren't supposed to fit in. You weren't supposed to be like your parents. You weren't supposed to be like your siblings. None of that. You each came in as unique beings with gifts implanted within you that you must harvest. And you harvest those in your thoughts. And that's why we've given you our work. And this is why we've given you a being who could demonstrate the results of that. But what we can't do is make you do it. And we've even had to change him, because at this time in your world, many of you have been trying to convince others of who you are. You cannot do that. You have to convince yourself of you, who you are. You have to convince yourself of your importance. And then that will emanate to everyone else, you see. And this is what we had to do with him. But he still had this thing where and many of you have this because you're empath and you understand this, or your star seeds or your light workers or all that. We want you to understand that all of you are way showers, and we would like for you to adopt that terminology, because you'll understand that your life is about showing the way. Many of you understand that with your kids, but you're doing that with the entire planet, you see. By the actions you take, the thoughts you think, how much you decide to love yourself will be how much your world decides to love itself as well. That's all. There's no difference in that. You each have you're born with equal power. There's no human born with more power or ability than another. You just decide how much you're going to accept and believe about yourself. Now, we know that many of you are saying, oh, wait a minute, my life's been so terrible and horrible and all of that. No, it wasn't. It was your interpretation of that. You just didn't understand the enormous gifts that you came to bring to the world by deciding to move through those challenging and difficult times. This is why we had our guide, our messenger here, write a book on fear, to tell you some of the things that are possible, to tell you what you can accomplish when you change your mind. That's all that it ever is. But you will have these especially now, because everything is moving so quickly, and none of you have understood what was occurring. And so you would have a little bit of fear, but then you get pulled out of it and then you have support. This is why we wanted you to come together in groups. And that's exactly what's happened. When Roger doubted all of this, and then he started seeing, and now he's having the happiest time of his life because he gets to spend time with the people in his program who are making such great strides. And he watches it and goes, oh, this is how this is happening. Now, we want to speak about that a little bit, because there was something that came up the other day, and we want you each to understand how you evolve and become yourself. See, what we gave Roger was a way of accessing information that was within him, but he did it by himself. You see, he sat down and he wrote and he meditated and he got the information. You each can do that if you decide to do it. Now, and when we gave our program, we did the same thing. We wanted each of you to do that, to be able to go inside and be as honest. And sometimes you even in writing, you will start to suffer yourself. Now, you start to really restrict what you will say, because you have that judgment, see, and you don't want to look at it, and then you stop, and then you never get to the destination. The destination is really, really close for all of you, and it's very close for your planet if you decide to move. That's why we're doing this today. We want to, again, to get ahead of it. That's how we've given you everything. But there's some of you who are still not understanding the importance of what you have moved through, and that was the purpose of this. And this is why many of you are angry. We want you to understand you're angry only because you haven't decided that you could move through something that is right in front of you that you know you could do, but it does take time. It takes time in your consciousness. This is just why we've broken it down into giving you that linear time that humans need to move to a different level of understanding. You could do it in an instant if you chose to, but that does take skill, let's say. You can heal anything in your physical bodies if that is part of your plan, if it's going to serve your evolutionary journey, but it is possible. And again, we've given you a being who has done that, who's moved through all of your physical illnesses and all of that, and he's changed them all. And he wasn't even willing to talk about it, just like many of you have done that. You will move through challenging things and find a solution, but then you have the shame and embarrassment. The shame and embarrassment is generational. We want you to understand that. This particular change in your world is a generational change. So many of you are experiencing things, as we said, from your ancestors that you're meant to move beyond. And there's certain acts that have happened in the United States. We want you to understand this is, again, why we did this. None of you could have known why we gave you some of our messages at the time that we did, but we knew what would be occurring. We can access different information. We're not limited by your linear time. So this is why we can see exactly what's happening. And we unfortunately, we push Roger so much to do things that it gets a little chaotic, because he feels our energy very clearly, which is why we called you all here today. We wanted you to have this today before you go into your weekend, the rest of your weekend, so for some of you, but before you go into the holiday, especially in the United States, because there will be things that you will see in the next coming days that could seem like chaotic. But we told you, you're going to have some chaos, and the necessary thing that happens in evolution is destruction. You have to take down what was old. You have to uncover what was not working. And this is the work that we've given you, but some of you are afraid of that because you don't want to look inside of yourselves and see what's there, because you've judged yourself as somehow not being worthy. And that was never true. You've judged yourself as doing all these wrong things. That wasn't true. You were learning things to give to others, you see. And when you understand that and shift your perspective, you start to emotionally, spiritually, and mentally experience a different life for yourself. And that's the energy that you then decide to give to your world. And that's why you are all here. And we want you to understand there's none of you who are insignificant, and you must let go of that, because some of you are thinking, oh, well, the thing that I'm doing isn't that important. That is the biggest mistake that many of you have made, because your energy is powerful. There's no human that has more ability than another. It's just if they decide that they're going to accept the brilliance that is within them. And we're using those words because many of you don't understand that you do have brilliance, because you've been judging yourselves as being these little insignificant specks on the planet. And even though you are a speck, you are a significant one. We gave you an analogy a couple of years ago where we talked about a tree, because we wanted you to understand your world and your planet. So if you think of a tree, it has roots, and it grows, and it goes up, and it goes up that way, because you have this idea about heaven going that way. Well, your world does that too, and you do exactly the same thing, but you have to have the foundation first, and those are your roots, and that is those are the the experiences that you have experienced in your life, everything that you have moved through. Those were the conditions that you wanted to have, because when you move through those, you're going to understand how important you are. You're going to understand what you have to offer to your world. There's no human born who doesn't have that, but there are the ones who will choose not to discover it. And we understand that. And that's also, we want you to understand that's okay. This is why we had to have Roger. We told him last week, please do not sell our program to anyone. We don't want that. We only want people who want to become their best selves, you see, because if you have to sell someone on something, you're never going to do it. And you've all seen this. You've done things in your lives, you've done programs and gone to, and you stop. And so then you don't have the result. And then the energy of that goes into your planet, and it's not proving anything. It's not improving anything. And that's what you all want. And so there's certain, you must understand this, because many of you are trying to change your spouses and your relatives and all of that, because you're coming into a new awareness. Many of you are waking up to so much within you that's so different. And then you're looking at all of those around you and saying, well, why aren't they getting it? They aren't supposed to. You're supposed to get it, and just leave them alone and do what you came to do. And then you will rub off on them. We love using that. Your essence will rub off on them, and then it makes a huge difference. And so what we did the other day, and we were saying this because everything is connected. You may think that it's just the other people, but everything is connected. Your higher self is directing the actions and the circumstances in your lives. And so the other several days ago, as we told you about Her Holiness Saima, she was contacted by Roger because a student saw him and said, oh, wow, you have the same teachings as Her Holiness. And then the other night she had a global presentation because she wants to bring awareness to the world. She's doing it in a big way. She's had this huge reach to all of these people. And then Roger had to he sat there for the Zoom meeting, but he had to move. He didn't think it was going to be anything. And she calls him up on the stage on the Zoom screen. There's 700 people there. And he said, oh my word, why am I there? This is what can happen to all of you. And that's the thing that scares you. Is how great you could possibly become, how much a difference you could possibly make if you get out of your way and stop being afraid of who you are, because each of you have something that you are meant to bring to the world. And all we've wanted to do this entire time is to give you the information that would allow you to access the brilliance that is within you, and to love yourself, and to understand everything that you have done has been for a grander purpose. And that purpose is showing up now, because you would not be on your planet unless what you had was going to make a greater difference in creating the new world that you all want to see. And that's that fifth dimension, as we've always said, or some of you call it the age of Aquarius. But you must understand that is a different way of thinking. When we gave you our work, we said it is called your life operating instructions, because you needed something new to go into the new world. And what you do through the philosophy we've given you is you let go of the old stuff. You examine it, you figure out the growth, the knowledge and wisdom you've gained from it, and then you let go of it. And then now you start creating something new. And it is that process, and it's individual one that you each take, and it's unique and it's purposeful for every single soul. There's no hierarchy of souls, as we've always said, except you've gotten off balance, and you are all here now to shift that balance, and we're so happy you're doing so. Now we're going to begin with some of your questions, but we do have one that was sent in, and we're going to begin with that because we're going to show again the connectedness that you all have, because this person could not be here, but the questions that they sent would be so universal for many of you, and that will probably answer some of your questions before we ever get there.
All right, beautiful. Yes, the Q&A is open, so you can go ahead and ask your questions now by clicking on the Q&A button. And here is that question that Wilhelm was referencing. Hello, Roger, Wilhelm, and Stan. My topics are heavy. Many blockages showed up and hindered me from living a life of abundance, health, and success. I remember I killed many white men as a Native American. How do I deal with this? And is it true?
We will begin there. We know there are more. We want to begin there. Many of you are feeling that. Yes, you're reckoning for certain things that you have done in your past. That's a reckoning. We want you to understand it. And so we'll feel that way to you. But what you do, how do you correct it? You correct it by deciding to love yourself now, so that those old things that you feel that you don't even know that you have accomplished, that you did in the past, can be changed. This is what your world is attempting to do now, and what your society always does, which is why your world evolves. Okay, great. The next one.
I am female and 53. Is there a fitting partner coming for the rest of my life? What are my talents and which job would be the most fitting? What happened that I have difficulties letting myself just be thought? And how does that integrate into people generally? Where does the lack of self-worth come from? And why is there so little interest and compassion for others suddenly? My imagination for the rest of my life would be living in abundance, being creative, singing and dancing, being crazy like Freddie Mercury, who I think I seem to know.
We love that so much. Yes, you're going to know all those beings who came before, who exemplify something that is pertinent for you to understand about your now. You see, you each do that. You are examples for everyone else. Now, the Freddie Mercury thing we love so much, because now you were attracted to a being who decided, I'm going to own myself and I'm not going to care what anyone else is going to say, and I'm going to have fun. This is why you were attracted to him, but you're not allowing yourself to do that, which was evidenced by what you said. You have this lack of compassion. No, you have a lack of compassion for yourself. It's not about others. It is about you, and it's always about you. And so when you're feeling those things, it means that you're meant to wake up and love who you are and celebrate that. This is why Freddie Mercury is showing up for you, so that you can have the example of who you're meant to become. And it's a progression of intelligence that happens throughout your planet, and you each are here to bring in more of it. Thank you for those. And there's so many that was in there that many of you will begin to understand. You're going to have changes in your personalities that are coming up and are showing up now that you can't understand, which is why we said many of you are feeling lost. You're actually becoming found. Okay.
Yes, this is a really, really juicy session here. Keep coming with your questions. The questions are rolling in. Why was I visited by Archangel Azrael? Does he have a message to help me through this project I've been given to bring into the world? Why hasn't he shown himself since January?
Because you're supposed to understand that he's just there as an example. You each might access different archangels because they are eternal beings. They have spirits, and they will be different personalities and bring in different qualities. You did this one for a specific reason, but it's saying that you're supposed to take what he is bringing to you. We don't like using the he, what they are bringing to you. We want you, because we need you to get rid of the old gender thing, okay? But we need you to understand the energy they are bringing to you is what you are meant to use now and put it into your project. That's all. Yes. And it's so perfect that you are so aware of that. Not all of you will have memories or awarenesses of contacting very specific beings. And as we've said, we're a collective, so we are resonant with all of them. But if you're having some information come through from a specific one, then please study their history. Please study what they're about, because they're giving you a sign that you are to use that energy in the project you're creating so that you can bring something new into the world. And you are right on track. You've been doubting yourself, and you're please just own that. It'll grow in your belief because you've already had the awareness. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that question. My finances are always up and down. I know it's me creating this up and down. Mm-hmm. So what can I do or be to stabilize my view on money so it can start flowing every day, all day? Also, I have been doing a money activation program. Is it helping?
No. It's not helping because you haven't gotten through the other stuff, you see. And you said, how can I just be? That was the most important thing you said in that. Just be. See, because now what you're doing is you're using this money manifesting thing to try to make something happen. But what you're doing at the same time is telling yourself, I have to do this because I'm not worthy of receiving abundance naturally. And the natural abundance that you will receive will become when you decide to become yourself. And we've given you demonstrations that with our messenger here, because he was not allowing the abundance to come in because he couldn't talk about himself. He couldn't bring us through through in the way that we're doing now, and you have the same thing. So we want you can, if you use your money manifesting thing, that mantras and processes do work for some of you, but you must be careful that you're not also giving yourself this idea that you need this. If you're using it as an enhancement, you see, it's a very different energy that you will use in your meditation, your mantras, or whatever particular practices that you're using. But if you're using it, is that you know that you deserve this, and you're right here, and all that's happening is that you're breaking through another barrier of loving yourself and being who you are, then the flow of abundance comes to you. We must get you all to understand that, because this is why we've talked about abundance so much, and it's a big issue in your world right now, but we want you to understand it is energy. Money in all of that has no particular worth. It just doesn't. You've each, as humans, given it that worth, and you do that through energy, you see, and then you've used that energy, that money or abundance, to control your lives or control others at times. And this is what is needing to shift, what you're wanting to shift in your world at this time. So what you're doing is the right idea about knowing that you deserve more abundance, but we're saying that will come naturally when you start to love who you are, understand your importance in this world. But that's a process. This is why we've broken our work down and to give you the time to understand that. But then what happens, and we can show you because we've given you the result. See, because then when you move through all of this work and you ascend to this higher state of understanding, money is no object. It's no problem for you anymore. But this is, it's a process, because many of you are still in the habit of judging yourselves. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. And while already the Q&A is closed, we have more than enough questions to carry us to the rest of the hour. If you have a question that you didn't get a chance to ask, please bring it into the next session, the next time that we have this live channeling sessions. But if you got your question in, it will be answered today, even if we go over time. Here is the next question. We just answered that one. Does the self have a physical boundary? I believe it doesn't, but is it helpful to experience myself as, say, the tree and the birds?
Whatever gives you a sense of expansion is the best thing that you can think of. You come into the world and you have a physical body, and this is where many of you get stuck, because you think you're going to die and all these things are going to happen. Doesn't. You're in your consciousness, okay? And so whatever you can do to get this expansive feeling of no limits, of just spatially, and so trees give you that, because you can, that image, just think of that. The tree is growing, and it's always growing, and it's expanding, and the leaves get bigger, and the branches go. That's what you're all doing. And your world is doing the same thing. Your planet is doing the same thing, if you take care of it, and you take care of it through your thoughts. So yes, that's a wonderful thing. Just keep going with that. The self is never limited, because the self that we think that you are speaking of feels like more of your physical body. Your self is what we talk about in ultimate reality, which is just your essence that has always existed and is perfect. You don't get there, because then there'll be no point in your evolution. You see, you're always moving to that place. You're moving to that place individually, and you're doing that collectively in your world. This is why we told you were having a restructuring of your world now. And this is why you're here, to restructure yourself so you can help this ascension. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question. Hi, Wilhelm. You addressed my cocoon question in the last session, and I get that a bit, but it's easy to forget. I am endeavoring to accept and have greater love for myself, but I am having difficulty existing in what I can only call an existential hell. Mm-hmm. Is this a death process that I am in the middle of? I am willing to actualize my optimum self. What is the process for having this shift and experience experience a balance? Do I just trust that what I'm going through is in the unknown? Thank you.
You've just done it. You're so brilliant, and we love you because you explain things so well, and you could not have done that. You couldn't even form that question unless you had this vast awareness that you have yet to really fully accept. That's all. And when you talk about the butterfly thing, now you must understand, we gave Roger that many, many years ago. You see, many, many years ago. And then it just became to make sense recently. And so when you stop judging yourself that you haven't gotten there, because we're feeling a little bit of that you think that there's this other place you're supposed to be. No, you're right on track. And then the balance that you're understanding is just really powerful, because that's the balance that you're each trying to bring into the world. And we're also feeling that the balance that you're bringing in is more of a feminine energy. And that's so incredibly powerful, but you haven't felt that yet. That's all. And so you're so aware that you need to shift that, and you need to embody more of that. But you also have to let go of the judgment of yourself, and that you think that there's someplace you're supposed to be now. And no, you're right where. This is why we gave you the message this morning. And if you look on our website, we wanted more of you to understand is that you are on the right path. Just stay, you're just calm. You're just going to now accept that. In each moment, you can only do it in a moment at a time, you see. Just accept, oh yeah, I'm in the right place. Okay, I'm getting better. Oh, each day, and it does happen each day. We want you to understand that. Many of you in our work are starting to see that and not understanding how that occurred. But this is why it does happen. If you stay with it, then each day you feel better because your consciousness is expanding. That's all that any of you are doing at this time, is raising your awareness and your consciousness. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question. Greetings. I have thought about training to become a channel. Would this be appropriate for my gift to the world? Yes,
please do it now. Yes, we love that. We want to say this. Oh, thank you so much for this. You guys are so wonderful in bringing these questions forward. When we had to force Roger to start doing this, we want you to understand that. You might look at him now and think, oh, he has his gift. No. He heard us for years saying, okay, the writing was one thing. He held back the writing for almost 20 years. He always did that. But he wasn't going to tell you because it didn't seem real to him. You're doing that as well. It doesn't seem real what's coming up for you. That's okay. But we're giving you this because we want you to keep trusting it. And then when we first started coming through to Roger, it was shocking to him that it was happening. And then he still had to work through his own individual, limitations of accepting that. And then when your world started shifting and we said, we have way too much information to give people. We can't just keep writing. We need you to talk. And this is why we had him start doing these live conversations, to bring this awareness to the fore now, because it was when it was needed in your world. So yes, you are going to begin doing that. And we're so pleased that you're getting that. Many of you are seeing that. And stop judging yourself that you're not getting the right information or you don't understand what it is. You will know that it is correct because it feels different in your body. You see, it feels good, the information that's coming through. And sometimes it shocks you because it's quite different than things that you're normally thinking, which is what it's supposed to be. So you're on the right track. So thank you so much for that.
Yes, thank you for that question. Thank you, Roger and Wilhelm. I am a female and have 43 years on Earth. Is it really true that having children over 40, that they may not be as healthy?
No. Okay, we need more of you to look up examples. You each come to give examples. You're Naomi Campbell. What was she, 50? She just had a baby. And there are many people, you have restrictions that you've placed on yourselves that don't make any sense. If you have the child and if you have the correct energy around it, if it's part of your evolutionary path, if that child's soul is meant to come onto the planet and you meant to be the vessel, then that will happen. There's no right or wrong in that. It's just when the soul decides that it's a part of their path, because you each have souls that direct everything you're doing, even when you were born, when you came onto the planet. Your DNA genetic code was implanted at that time. You made that choice. And so you just used your parents as the vessels to bring you here as the mechanism, because you do that in human form, but you don't need them. So if that is part of what, if it's something that you want to do, if it's something that feels important, then yeah, just do it. But you must take away, because we feel that you are already, we don't know if it's you, but we just feel that there's this judgment that if you do this, that somehow you're going to destroy, you're going to create an inferior child. You have no control over that child. You have no control over what their soul decides to bring into the world. We want each of you to understand that, because many parents have trouble with this. You judge yourselves for how your kids turn out and think you did something wrong or different. No, the soul will direct their journey, and you're all doing that. So go for it if that's what you're going to do. And but again, make your energies, your intentions. Your intention means everything. Please become aware of what that is, why you want to do it, what you know. Those are the things that are most important with anything. But get rid of the limitations. There are no restrictions or limitations of what you can achieve. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for that question. Next question that is in. I've had experiences with DMT and come to the realization that everything is a dream.
Mhm.
And now I'm having trouble trying to believe anything in this dream has any value or meaning. What is it? What is life? What is life truly about?
Life is truly about you deciding that you are so essential and important in every experience that you're having and that you're moving through. Even the ones that you don't understand are leading you to a greater awareness that will bring to you the life that you want to have. That's all. And so when you do, DMT is naturally occurring in all your human brains, but you might use chemicals or other things to get there. And that's okay if you use that. However, when you start to see this expansive place that exists, because many of you have done that, and some of you have done them with using plant medicines and other chemicals or drugs or whatever you might have done, but then you see a different dimension, and then it gets you the idea that nothing is real. So it is all an illusion. And guess what? Then you get the feeling that, oh, now I can create what I want. That's all. Now let me just create what I want, because now I can see that the illusions of my thoughts have just been holding me in this one place. And if I let go of that, then I can create something grander. So you're in the right place. You're doing it, and you're bringing in a different understanding of this entire process. So we love that. You're bringing in a different understanding of how others might access different parts of their being. And that might even turn into a little bit of a career for you. So thank you for your question.
Yes, thank you so much for that question. Are angels, archangels, guides, ascended masters, etc., just ways to describe energies? Is there a difference between energies and beings, and do we interact with them in the same ways?
Wow, there's so much in there, but we're just going to give you all of it. All of it is connected. You just access it at different places. That's all. And you will do that individually, depending on what's right for your path. But yeah, it's all consciousness. That's all. I mean, when you make the distinctions of beings or archangels and this, that, and the other, you're talking about energy. It is all energy, but there are different levels that you will experience in physical form, because none of you really are truly, physical. You are spiritual beings, but that's a concept that's difficult to accept. To experience, because you have to feel it. It's a different thing. However, what you are doing, what you're coming to, which we love so much, is that you're understanding the progression that you all experience in terms of ascension, which is what you do as an individual and what you do as a world. That ascension means that you move from one state of understanding or awareness or consciousness to a higher one. You do it all the time, just in different ways. Now, you get off track when you stop. When you decide that you're doing something wrong. This is all the judgments that come in. As we said, we gave you something that we said judgment will be your only difficulty. But no, you are connecting things in a wonderful way. And so please continue with that, because you're going to give a greater understanding to so many more beings, and that's going to permeate your world. Just the information that you're coming to now, but you need to just stay with that, allowing that information, because it's coming to you. We can feel that. Just allow it to keep coming, and then you're going to formulate something out of it that's going to serve you and many others. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for that. Why do people in my life hold me to high standards while seeming to always let themselves off the hook? How can I change dynamics in relationships with these people? Is my only choice to let go of them? Why do they see me as blaming them for my problems when I merely hold them accountable for their behaviors?
And that's the difficulty that you're having, is that you can't do that. This is why we said you can't change them. You are coming at this is so wonderful. Thank you for this question, because we're going to give you something that's going to help you so much. You are coming to a great awareness about who you are. You're coming to a great awareness about what is possible for more humans. That's what you're really doing. And so then in that great awareness, you want them to change right away because you're getting it. You can't do that. You have to understand that they're doing their individual, and they've been placed in your life for this reason, to help guide you to your own self-belief, to your own self-empowerment, to your own self-actualization. They're just helping you to accomplish that. You're not supposed to change them. This is why we had to tell Roger, please don't sell people, don't tell people to come into our work if they're not ready. So you will have to become ready yourself, you see? And that's what you're doing. So just let them go. They're not putting you down. They're not doing any of that. They are helping you to understand who you are. And it feels like they're all doing that stuff to you. You're doing that. You're doing that because you want to understand and accept your brilliance, and you're on the path, and we just want you to stay with it and just let go of them, because they're actually giving you an awareness that you will eventually accept. And so we're thrilled for that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for that question. Why do I crave meat so much lately? Is it immoral to consume the flesh of another creature? How can we live sustainably?
You each are going through a generational changes, and you have had systems. You have societies where eating meat was a way you sustained yourself, and it was what was in your consciousness that was really how you had to do that. Now, you don't dismantle those particular ideas and beliefs instantly, and depends on your individual path. But if you're finding, because you're all changing now, you're moving into different areas of your beingness, and so you might find yourself, even if you have been a vegetarian or a vegan for a while, all of a sudden you needed a little more meat, because it's giving you a sense of grounding. But you must get rid of the judgment, because we feel that you've had a little bit of judgment, that you've had that kind of a feeling. There's something in your evolutionary path from your generations that is saying that the way you used meat before gave you a sense of groundedness, and that's why you're being brought back to it now, because you're trying to find that groundedness. But that's okay. And if you feel, and then we also feel the judgment that you have about eating the animals and that have been slaughtered, don't eat those. Find some that have not gone through that. If you're feeling the physical need at this time to make that change, then find ones that haven't been slaughtered, so you're not putting that energy into your body. But do what causes you to have comfort now, because you're all moving into areas of your experience of yourselves that you have never been to. And so it's uncomfortable. So finding a little bit of grounding for a while is going to be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question. I had an Akashic record reading from someone I trust very much. I am now aware of my soul path. However, the reading was in allegory, and some things were not very clear or specific. Should I have another reading done, or trust that it all will make sense eventually? And what is the heaviness in breathing and lung issue all about?
You're holding your breath because you're not moving into the information that you've been given from your first Akashic Records reading. And yeah, you should have another one. That's what we're saying, because it will give you a little more belief. The heaviness is that you're trying to get to that place of this self-belief, and you're resisting. And so your belief is not gone. We told you what we did with Roger. When we first gave him this information, he goes, no, that didn't happen. He's going to put it away. And so he had one Akashic Records reading done, and then kind of freaked him out a little bit, because the person said at the end, wow, I think I'm supposed to be following you. And then he had another one where she brought out exactly what we had told him, even with the words of what he was meant to do, that the path that you were exposed to, just like what you said, but he still didn't accept it right away. It's a process that you each do. You have these memories, as we've said, and you each will use them in different ways. Humans have created the Akashic Records because it's a it's all the information that has existed. Many won't believe or understand that. So, but it's working for you because it's giving you an understanding, a memory of your ancestral beings and your DNA and what you're on. So yes, but you're still in this place of like that. I know I saw it. I'm still not believing it. And so reinforcement is always valuable because none of you accept things instantly. So yes, please just do another one if that's what you're feeling. But know that just let go. We want to say this. You saw the path, but you're judging yourself that you're not living it. Let go of that. That's all we're saying. You will get there and just get more help and support. And that's what we're always giving you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that. And we are coming on to our final question. And here it is. Hello, Wilhelm. Thank you for your time. I want to know when I will be contacted by the Arcturians, which I believe are an extension of myself. I am ready to receive instructions as well as wisdom and knowledge on how to raise the frequency here on Earth. I am ready now. Please let me know how to get in touch. And thank you. Sending loves and hugs.
You're in touch. You are so brilliant. You have such this awareness of what's coming in. And again, you connected to specific entities, which we love that so much because that's the beings that have so much to bring to all of you during this time of transition in your world, and you're accessing that. So no, but see, the separation is what each of you have. You think that you are separate from what you are receiving, and you are not. You're just accepting that a bit at a time, which is why we've said we give you things in increments because you don't accept it all at once. The message that we've given you, that we just recently put up over the last, we said the last few days, we wanted to see the ones that we gave you 3 years ago, because even 3 years ago, you didn't understand what we were saying. And so you are moving through that period yourself. And so you're just accessing so much that is coming about now, and it's all quite perfect. And just keep embracing it. We're so pleased because you are moving in a direction that's not only going to serve you, but it's going to help your planet in so many ways. But you just have to. There's this place where you think they're out there and I'm here. We need you to bring that together because they are with you now and you've already made that access, and all you're doing is accepting a little bit each day, and then it becomes real for you. Thank you for that question.
Yes, thank you for that question. And we are complete. Does Wilhelm have anything to take us out with?
Yes, the reason that we brought you all here today is to make you aware, to help you become more aware of your importance in your world at this time, the importance on your planet, and the wonderful gift that you came to offer your world. We know many of you have not understood that, and we're going to keep explaining it because you're judging yourself. You think you have these terrible things, or you haven't gotten there yet. You have all of that stuff. It doesn't matter. In this moment of now, we want you to understand how powerful you are, and the more you keep accepting that, you're going to see very different results occurring in your world. It's not going to happen tomorrow, which is why we said we have to keep moving things up the ladder now, because your world needs you to shine a bit more. Your world needs you to be happy. The greatest thing that you're going to come to understand, that each of you have had these lives that brought value and worth. You just have not understood how much, but we're going to keep talking to you about it because we know that that's going to make the difference in your life and in the world that you're all here to create. And we love you all so much. Thank you.
I haven't done anything like this.
It's increased the confidence that I had in myself.
Everything is better. I mean, every single aspect of my life. My income,
the progress is just amazing. Like you can see changes from week to week.
Introducing your last development program, Life Transformation for Success, the newest part of Roger Burnley's coaching series. In this 3-month online program, you will learn the mindset tools you need to dissolve the shame of your past, discover the gifts within you that make you important to the world, and get the confidence to rise above anything that stands between you and the life that you want.
Everything changed in my life. Everything, every single thing.
It's time for you to reprogram your mind for success and become self-actualized. If you're ready to transform your life too, learn more at yourlastdevelopmentprogram.com today.